Welcome to the Joshua Ngoma podcast for spiritual inspiration and Africa's strategy positioning in global politics.
The 10 horns of Daniel chapter 7 and Revelation chapter 13. In the Bible, horns are a powerful symbol of strength, power, and victory, often representing God's might and the deliverance of his people, as well as royal dignity and dominion. Horns, particularly those of animals like bulls, are natural symbols of strength and power, used for defense and attack. The exalted horn, or lifting up the horn, signifies victory and God's grace, as seen in Psalm 89, verses 17 and 24, and 1 Samuel 2, verse 1. Horns can also represent royal authority and power, as seen in Jeremiah chapter 48, verse 25, Zechariah chapter 1, verse 18, and Daniel chapter 8, verse 24. The phrase, horn of salvation, in Luke chapter 1, verse 69, is used to describe the Messiah, Jesus, as the one who brings salvation with strength and power. The horns on the altar in the Old Testament were smeared with blood for atonement and became a place of refuge for fugitives. The four horns in Zechariah are believed to represent the four empires that conquered and scattered the Israelites during Israel's apostasy. These empires were Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. In Revelation and Daniel, horns on beasts represent power and authority, often in opposition to God. Daniel chapter 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream, and visions passed through his mind as he was laying in bed. He wrote down the substance of his dream. Daniel said, "In my vision at night I looked, and there before me were the four winds of heaven, churning up the great sea. Four great beasts, each different from the others, came up out of the sea. The first was like a lion, and it had the wings of an eagle. I watched until its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being, and the mind of a human was given to it. And there before me was a second beast, which looked like a bear. It was raised up on one of its sides, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. It was told, 'Get up and eat your fill of flesh.' After that, I looked, and there before me was another beast, one that looked like a leopard. And on its back it had 4 wings like those of a bird. This beast had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. After that, in my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was a 4th beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had large iron teeth. It crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from all the former beasts, and it had 10 horns. While I was thinking about the horns, there before me was another horn, a little one, which came up among them, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes like the eyes of a human being, and a mouth that spoke boastfully. As I looked, thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothes were as white as snow. The hair of his head was white like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and its wheels were all ablaze. A river of fire was flowing, coming out from before him. Thousands upon thousands attended him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated and the books were opened. Then I continued to watch because of the boastful words of the horn was speaking. I kept looking until the beast was slain and its body destroyed and thrown into the blazing fire. The other beasts had been stripped of their authority, but were allowed to live for a period of time. In my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence. He was given authority, glory, and sovereignty and power. All nations and peoples of every language worshipped him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. The interpretation of the dream. I, Daniel, was troubled in spirit, and the visions that passed through my mind disturbed me. I approached one of those standing there and asked him the meaning of all this. So he told me and gave me the interpretation of these things. The four great beasts are four kings that will rise from the earth, but the holy people of the Most High will receive the kingdom and will possess it forever, yes, forever and ever. Then I wanted to know the meaning of the fourth beast, which was different from all the others and most terrifying, with its iron teeth and bronze claws, the beast that crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head and about the other horn that came up, before which 3 of them fell, the horn that looked more imposing than the others, and that had eyes and a mouth that spoke boastfully. As I watched, this horn was waging war against the holy people and defeating them, until the Ancient of Days came and pronounced judgment in favor of the holy people of the Most High, and time came when they possessed the kingdom. He gave me this explanation. The fourth beast is a fourth kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling it down and crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who come from this kingdom. After them, another king will arise, different from the earlier ones. He will subdue 3 kings. He will speak against the Most High and oppress his holy people and try to change the set times and the laws. The holy people will be delivered into his hands for a time, times, and half a time. But the court will sit, and his power will be taken away and completely destroyed forever. Then the sovereignty, power, and greatness of all the kingdoms under heaven will be handed over to the holy people of the Most High. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all rulers will worship and obey him. This is the end of the matter. I, Daniel, was deeply troubled by my thoughts, and my face turned pale, but I kept the matter to myself. Revelation chapter 13, verse 1 to 2. The dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear and a mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. Only 7 emperors of Rome are mainly documented in the mainstream. It would be nearly impossible for this prophecy to be fulfilled by successive rulers. It required that 4 successive rulers had to be on the scene at essentially the same time to make up the numbers of 11 emperors Daniel saw. As unlikely as the chances of this happening are, it did happen in 69 AD, one of the Roman Empire's most turbulent years. The year of 69 AD saw the rapid-fire reigns of 3 successive emperors, Galba, Otho, and Vitellius, followed by the reign of Vespasian. At the beginning of the year, Galba was emperor in AD 69. By the end of the year, Vespasian possessed the throne, although he would not make it back to Rome until approximately October of 70. The Roman historians refer to AD 69 as the year of 4 emperors. The list below provides the identity of the 11 physical rulers of the 4th beast Rome. Number 1, Julius Caesar, 49 to 44 BC, Augustus, 31 BC to AD 14, Tiberius, 14 to 37 AD, Gaius or Caligula, AD 37 to 41, Claudius, 41 to 54 AD, Nero, 54 to 68 AD, Galba, 68 to 69 AD, Otho, 69 AD, Vitellius, 69 AD, Vespasian, 69 to 79 AD, Titus, 79 to 81 AD. Titus was the little 11th horn, who was the leader of the Roman forces in 70 AD under his father Vespasian. When Nero died in June of 68 AD, the Roman Empire was thrown into a state of chaos and a near civil war. Revelation chapter 16, verse 10 to 11, recorded this period. The 5th angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and its kingdom was plunged into darkness. People gnawed their tongues in agony and cursed the God of heaven because of their pains and their swords, but they refused to repent of what they had done. 3 short-lived successors to the throne, Galba, Otho, and Vitellius, came and went in the space of a year and a half. These were the 3 horns or rulers that were pulled out before the little 11th horn in Daniel chapter 7, verses 8 and verses 24. During this time of chaos, Vespasian and Titus waged war against the Hebrew Israelite nation. With the advent of civil war in Rome during 68 to 69 AD, the war on Israel was put on hold as Vespasian and Titus made a bid to take over the Roman Empire. Late in 69 AD, Vespasian became the victor in this struggle for Rome's throne. With the 3 short-lived emperors dead or pulled out in Daniel chapter 7 and 8, Vespasian was proclaimed emperor and returned to Rome for his coronation. Vespasian left his son Titus, who was the little 11th horn and would later become the 11th Caesar of Rome, to finish the war in Israel in 70 AD. Thus, the near impossibility of the 11 horns being successive rulers of imperial Rome finds clear support in history, just as Daniel had seen it in his vision. The reign of Emperor Titus was interesting. Titus was the little 11th horn. Even though it was Vespasian who became emperor in 69 AD, it was Titus, his son, the little 11th horn, who held the true power at this time. Titus was the one through whom the demonic attack came and worked his persecution of the believers, destruction of Jerusalem, and the temple. Daniel chapter 9, verse 26, after the 62 servants, the anointed one will be put to death and will have nothing. The people of the ruler who will come will destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end will come like a flood. War will continue until the end, and desolations have been decreed. Later on, we'll look at Daniel 7. Although Titus may have just been a general in 70 AD, he was the man through whom the Antichrist spirit, the beast from the abyss, was waking. As such, Titus was the focus of Satan's power and authority at this time. These 10 horns were later identified by the angel as 10 kings who would rule Rome before the destruction of the holy temple of the Hebrew Israelites. During his father's reign, Titus, son of Vespasian, destroyed the holy temple. Another horn, or small one, refers to Titus, Vespasian's son and eventually successor. Titus was in command of the Roman armies in the Holy Land and was responsible for the destruction of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. He is referred to as another horn or small one, probably because he was not yet emperor at this time, a mouth speaking haughty words. Titus spoke and acted with great arrogance in the inner sanctum of the Holy Temple. Titus was believed to have entered the Holy Temple and the Holy of Holies, and with his sword slashed the curtain. Through a miracle, blood spurted forth, and he thought he had killed God himself. He brought 2 harlots and spread out a scroll beneath them, transgressed with them on top of the altar. He began to speak blasphemies and insults against heaven, boasting, quote, one who was against a king in a desert and defeats him cannot be compared to one who was against a king in his own palace and conquers him, end of quote. Titus also changed times and laws. Enacting laws, as well as setting the times of religious observance and seasons of the year, was a function of the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem. Because the Jewish calendar was based on the moon, it had to be adjusted to stay in sync with the solar year or the Roman Julian calendar. Daniel chapter 7 verse 25 says that the saints would be given into the hands of the little one for a time and times and half a time. A time is 1 year, and times 2 years, and half a time is half a year. 3.5 years is the length of time Titus spent waging war against the Hebrew nation. From between March-April of 67 AD to August-September of AD 70. Though similar, this is a time from another event, not to be mistaken with Emperor Nero's reign of 42 months. We established that Nero was identified as the beast of Revelation by the number 666. 666. Although neither Titus nor the Roman Empire was physically destroyed in 70 AD, it was upon the destruction of Jerusalem and the Holy Temple by Titus and the first 10 Caesars of Rome that the sovereignty dominion, and greatness of all the kingdoms under the whole heaven was given to the people of the Most High God. Daniel chapter 7, verse 27. Then the sovereignty, power, and greatness of all the kingdoms under heaven will be handed over to the holy people of the Most High. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all rulers will worship and obey him. Titus, the little 11th horn, is not a futuristic character. He died and is long gone. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Joshua Ungoma podcast. Bye for now until next time.